I'm ready.
I'm ready. Fish and spaghetti.
Fish and spaghetti. Have I had that combo? I don't know.
You've never had fish and spaghetti?
I can't really think. I might have. I can't really think off the top of the head that I had those two at the same time. Not that I'm against it, because I love me some fish and I love spaghetti. So
I feel like okay, we'll make it happen. Because I feel like your life is just not. You know, there's staple like black things that happen.
And that's one of them?
It's one of them.
Really? That's news to me. Maybe I have to ask my mom. I feel like that's probably something she had. I like spaghetti and applesauce. I'm not saying that's a black thing. I'm just saying I like that. My mom used to feed it to me as a kid when I was a baby. And so like, yeah, she used to mix it, and like I'll still eat it now as an adult. It's just fire to me. Like, it's something so good about it. So shout out spaghetti, shout out applesauce.
Un comentario. I literally refuse to even comment on it.
All right, don't knock it till you try it.
All right.
Do not knock till you try. Well.
Please. Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Diamond, SKY. And today, I'm here with your boy, Mr.
DC himself.
Devon Connors.
The one and only.
The one.
I don't know any other Devon Connors out there. So keep that streak alive. Don't name your kids Devon Connors. If your last name is Connors, don't name them Devon.
Is a rule now?
I'm trying to be
rule.
Yeah.
No other Devon Connors may be birthed into this world. That's it.
That's it. No more.
Welcome to Writer's Block. I'm gonna need you to get your beatbox together.
Dude, I was skeptical of trying it out because I know you New Yorkers, like you guys are you guys are so critical, when it comes to the rap and beatboxing and all that stuff. So I figured I just throw.
I'm gonna just need you to get yours together. That was terrible. Wait, what are you doing?
Let me get into our groove. Once I got deep into it.
Okay, well, let's give you a
moment. No, it's all right. It's all right.
It's past the moment past.
It's past.
How's everyone doing today? I hope good, well, blessed, safe, healthy.
The sun's out, so that's a good.
Whenever the sun is out, I always feel like my energy is always. I tell you, I need to live in a warm climate where the sun's out more than it's not.
Yeah.
And here it's out less, and
I agree 120%.
But either way, yes. Either way, so I feel like last episode we kind of touched on this a little bit, but like we should delve deeper. Yes. I like the way that sounds. Delve deeper.
Delve a little deep.
Into how do you know? When is your book done? How do you know? I'm asking.
That's a good question, truthfully.
I
don't think I have I never think any of my answers are like, I'm not one of those people like my word is God, you know what I'm saying? So like I give everything with.
If you say it might help somebody else.
Right, and that's how I deliver it. That's all I like. You can take what I give you and try to use it, see if it worked for you. If not, trash it. That's my theory. But because I still struggle with this myself, so like I'm finishing up the final editing for, Nepotism for Dinner. Is like I realize some stories. The problem I have is I think some stories go better with certain areas of the book. It's like I end up taking it away from where I originally had it and put it somewhere else as I read through it.
Right.
And but I think if you got all your core stories you want to get out of it, Like it depends on how many chapters you're writing. Like this one's like 8 or 7 or 8. But it's like, my first book was like 16 or 17. But it just fit the stories of what I needed to say. But when I get to the point where like I'm not even telling the story anymore, like my last chapter was like a letter to Grayson. Right. And like the chapter.
He does this all the time. I just want everybody to know. Like I swear, like whatever I do, he'll be like, "Oh, I did such and such," and I'm like, "I literally just did that."
But I didn't do it for this book.
You did it. Get out of my.
I didn't do it for this book. I'm talking about the first book. The first book was a letter. I wrote a letter to Grayson, and then I even wrote like a chapter to my mom and dad. Like, so, but I feel like once I was able to staple that last chapter, especially with the first book, like, all right, Grayson, this is what I want you. I wrote this for you. This is what I want you to take from it. So that was kind of the staple when I knew I was finished for that one. This one, I think my stories are finished. So it was like the story I started with in the first, and even in the introduction, actually. And when I put the staple on that story, like the main thing I wanted to take away from that story, that's when I knew it was finished. Like, yo, this is the last chapter. So like, it just, I think it was however you open, which is a little bit hard for your first book, I think. Like.
It's a nightmare. Because I'm writing Broken Skin right now. And Broken Skin is my first self-published novel. And I literally am like, okay, I know. So here's the thing, right? And this is why, like, this is something that I'm processing as I'm having this conversation, right? Like, how do I know that my book is done? Because I wrote this last chapter thinking like, okay, this is the last chapter. Like, I know this is how I want the story to end, which I feel like is good. Like, at least I know, have in my head now, okay, this is how I want my story to end. But now I'm like, okay, how the fuck am I gonna get all these ideas to connect to this last idea? Right?
Yeah.
And that process of making sure I'm not leaving anything out or forgetting anything or not putting a story in there, or like you said, like, this story, it don't go right here. It should be like up here.
Yeah.
Like I just did that. Like, I'm like, dang, I got this chapter about being a perfectionist. I'm like, wow, this really needs to go. It was at the end. And I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, why would you need to be in the beginning. So I had to move it all the way to the beginning of the book. Are you going to say something else?
I think like that was a big struggle. I understand, like in my first books, like some chapters are like, this story goes in the beginning of the book. But now, like, that I had a little more structure with this one. So I only struggle with the stories within the chapter. So like, I don't have to go too far off to plug it in. So like, this story still goes in this chapter, but I probably should have told it right here after I said this versus, I saying it right here. So like, I think with that, with that first book, I think once you capitalize on like your main point and then you just start writing the people, like, I think that's kind of where you're like, all right, the book is done. But I don't know. I don't know. I'll probably have a better answer in my next book. Like, I think I have a little bit more clarity of it. I can't say I have a full grasp of that quite yet, but I think. Huh?
I say you're only on your second novel.
Yeah. So we'll see.
But more and more books you write, the clearer and clearer it will get. Like, okay, I know it's done because I've done this.
But I think it even goes back to what we were talking about like last week with like, starting with the end in mind. Mm-hmm. That way, when you do reach that point, you kind of like, all right, I know this is the end because this is where I started. Mm-hmm. And yeah.
Well, to help me, because I'm like, Wow, the deadline for this book is like right there. It's a couple of days away now, and like I still have that feeling of like, damn, this shit ain't done. Like, and I don't know, but because I have that in me of like, okay, so let me just start, right? Because I read this article and it was a bunch of different like authors, and I just kind of pulled like different quotes and things that they said about how they know when their book is done or when it's not done. And it was so the first part, which makes sense, the first thing that I read was that, did you revise and edit, like spell check and all that stuff? Like, if you didn't do that part, like, it's not done. Like, that's basic training. Like, go back and make sure you cross your T's and dot your I's, right?
I think, no, definitely that, because I've been doing that. And the thing I'm not too much of a stickler for like, because I want the book to come out how I talk, like, because when people read it, I want them to hear my voice. But I still do, make sure shit's spelled right, and like you said, cross your T's, dot your I's. But one thing I did, like, I used to be kind of hard about myself on was like run-on sentences. And like sometimes I don't really care like about that, like, or like they say you shouldn't start with a sentence with like and or but. But I'm like, so what? Like, it's my book. Like, this is how I talk, and that's how I'm gonna write it. So I don't do it a lot. There's sometimes where like, it just don't make sense putting it here. I can make a little bit more clear. But like sometimes like, nah, this fits. It just fits because I think it really drives the point home too.
I think that speaks to the type of book that I'm like, when you're writing in conversation style, like you say, like, I want somebody to hear, like, no, like, this is me and you having a conversation. Like, we're in a room and I'm telling you this story. I'm not going to put a period on this sentence. Yeah. I'm not going to be worried about, but listen, cause this is how, right? So I think that just speaks to how, or the type of books that we write. Like the same with Broken Skin. I'm like, when I write my book, I'll start a sentence with like, laugh out loud and listen, y'all. Like, that don't even make no sense, but I'm like, no, but if somebody's reading this and they hear my voice, they get it. They understand, like,
right. That conversation's going on in their head. They're like, so let me see what you talking about. Yeah.
Exactly.
I dig it.
Exactly. So, but to that point, you probably should at least make sure it's clear, like, what you're trying to get across. Like, the way that I am writing my book, I know in a certain spot of my book, I'm like, okay, that laugh out loud don't make no sense right there. Let me delete it because it just is completely random and it does not belong there. And it probably is not going to make sense to the reader. Yeah. But yeah. So foundation is make sure you have revised, edit, grammar, spell check, all that good stuff. The second thing that someone said was, are you tired of your piece? So your novel, your poem, your document, like, are you tired of it? Like as a whole, like the book as a whole? As a whole project, like, are you sick of it? Are you like, oh my goodness, why am I still looking at you? Like, it's over. Like, what else am I going to say? What else am I going to do? Like, no. Enough. Yeah, exactly. Enough is enough. Like, what else possibly could be added or taken away?
I think too, like, even like going back to like, am I saying too much stories, or am I telling too much stories? Like, a lot of stories, I don't even have to tell because that's something. Like, I think a lot of those stories, not a lot, but a few stories can be just saved for conversation. Like, not necessarily in the book, but when I'm talking about the book, those conversations can be had, like, on a platform like this, or like, so it's like some stories can just be left to be told that frames even the story you tell in the book. So like, you don't have to give all the stories away.
Yes. So that I'm skipping a few points just to get to what you're saying, because somebody else said that as well. That you have to be comfortable with that. You have to be comfortable when you write your book or whatever it is that you're writing, that you can't say everything. Like, you have to be comfortable with the untold parts. Like, allow people to wonder and guess. Give them a mystery. Let them be waiting for your next book.
Right.
Right. You got to be comfortable with the fact that you literally can't put every detail, every story cannot go. So pick the important ones.
Get the one that drives the point home.
Right, exactly.
Drive them home. Yeah.
And I think that, I guess, like, as a writer, that happens to us. They're like, no, but like, if I don't say this, how they gonna know? Right? Because when you're a writer, when you're an author, your mind is making so many different connections all the time. And I just feel like we just wanna, we need to tell people, like, no, because back in January when it was raining,
yes,
and then February, and then now we done went through and it's like, no.
You know what it reminds me of? You were like in those kids coloring books, so they have like the numbers and you gotta connect the dots. Mm-hmm. Like, that's sometimes what like my brain reminds me of. Like, if you follow all the dots, like, but some of these dots just ain't necessary. Like, yo, I know what the picture is. Like, just pick out some of them dots.
I feel like that's a good analogy, because my brain does the same thing. But it does, but we can get our point. We can drive the point home, like you said, without having to do that for every. You can still paint the picture without connecting all of those tiny dots.
I think, like, for me now, even going further, as I went through this book, I was like, I really only need to drive home my biggest points in the beginning and the end. Like, so those will probably be my two longest chapters. The everything in between is kind of like, very short and to the point. I mean, it still has stories in them, but like that first, and maybe the one before the last, because, that's like the build up to the closer point. But but the first and second one probably like my most story driven chapters, where I like connect the most dots. So like I said, that's just something I'm like, I just realized that as I was like editing it up and doing like that, I was like, okay, I noticed a little theme here. So
something somebody else said, just so you're not like adding too much to your book is, or whatever it is that you're working on, is adding to add, and adding stuff that doesn't belong. And like, it's the same thing with those, like, connecting, like, skip this dot.
Yeah.
I don't need this. Like, yes, I understood it happened, but it's not. It's the same way of like when you kind of put things on autopilot. You know, it's like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to know that it was 39 degrees that day.
Like, what does this 39 have to do? Well, 39 was my favorite number back in the day, and
right, like, nobody gives a damn that 39 was your favorite number. Like, no, take that piece of information, take it out. It don't need to be there. And if you're adding unnecessary information, then clearly your book's not done, or you're not comfortable with it, and you have to figure out what it is what is the point that you're really trying to drive home.
Right. I dig that. I mean, that's very accurate.
Something else somebody said was, and just to go with So the opposite of adding stuff that doesn't belong is taking out a whole bunch of either. So when you're going through editing and stuff like that, you're just sitting there like moving periods around or putting commas in or adding punctuation, like doing a whole bunch of editing that is not necessary. Your book's probably done. Yeah. Like you're just micromanagement at this point. Like you're overworking it. Like your dough is done cooking. Like you've been in it too long.
Take it out the oven. Take it out the oven. It's
right, yeah. Take it out the oven. It's burnt. It's gonna be crispy after this.
What's that smell? Is that? Yeah, you might want to take that out.
Right. Something that somebody else said, just to add to that one, to go off of that point, was that somebody said, if you're adding stuff that doesn't need to be added, if you're taking stuff out that you shouldn't be doing, then that means that you don't want to let your book go, and that means it's probably done. Mm-hmm. And because I feel this way about my poetry, about my book. Like, this is my baby. And I don't want to let it go. Like, why? No. It's
I definitely sense that from you for sure. Like, I can't even front. Like, I feel that hold that you have on it, like, oh, wait, like, no, wait, hold on. Like,
yes, like somebody's gonna have to be like, just snatch it out of my hand and be like, no, I can't. Don't cut the umbilical cord.
I think it'll be easier in your next book, though. I think it'll be a lot easier. So you might as well just let this one go, because like you're gonna write the next one. You're like, why was I holding on to that first one for so long?
Because it's mine. It's my
it's your
my
gift,
brain.
It's
your my gift brain.
To the world. Your gift to the world, you know.
I had to push a baby out, so, and she terrorizing the world ever since.
Exactly. Let the book do the same. Let your book do the same thing.
Yes, maybe January 4th.
You got it.
I have no other choice.
You got it.
Did you feel that way, like when you wrote an hour play?
The attachment?
Mm-hmm.
No, truthfully, I guess but I think it's just because, luckily, I didn't like at the time I didn't look at myself as an author or like as a, like I said, mine was just to like make sure this information was set in stone so Grayson has access to it. Like, and a lot of things I talked about in there, I just want to make sure he knew so he can form his own principles and like, and ideas. But I didn't really have too much attachment to it. Like, oh, this isn't ready. This isn't like kind of once I wrote that, I think it was more of even just like the editing thing. Like you said, like going back and, putting the period here or putting the comment here with that one. This one, definitely not as much. This one was like pretty easy to like edit from that one. Now it's just like making sure the story is in the right place, which I feel more and more confident every day. So it's like, yeah, it's ready to go out. So I'm trying to get it. Try to have it. And actually, for the first one, I didn't have I just had blank back like this. I had like a saying on the back for the physical copy, but I actually have stuff like something to write on the back here too. Like so this one's like, this is legit. I'm like super excited for it, for real. I really just think it's gonna crack on my head. Huh?
What is it?
Nepotism for Dinner. Nepotism for Dinner.
Oh,
yeah, okay. I'm really excited for Nepotism for Dinner. I'm really excited for it, really. Like, so it's probably more excitement than the first one, honestly, just because, like I said, I'm embracing the fact that I'm a writer. Instead of just like, yo, I need to leave my brain back for my son. Am I more what?
Are you more attached to for dinner?
I don't really feel the attachment. I'm just ready to get it like completely done, like just all edited and formatted. Yeah. Like,
are you? So it's done. Can I get my copy done?
I gotta get the four. I put it on because I use it. All right.
We can talk about that later.
You and someone else get the first copy. I read it to my mom the other day, and she was like, "Yeah, you got something." So.
I mean, I can do that in our place. So. I mean, I believe in. I mean, I can think that's why our brains are. That's why we can do this podcast together, because our brains feed off of one another's.
Yeah, for sure.
Setting deadlines. Like, if you're the type of person like me, when I'm like, I could hold on to something forever, setting a deadline gives me like, I guess, accountability. It's like, no, like at this point, you have to be ready to let this thing go, because if not, I would just hold on to it forever and I would never release this book.
I think even going with that, like setting deadlines, is like, as soon as this one's like completely like good, done and ready for print, I'm already moving on. So I'm not going to wait as long to start. Right, like, because I have a lot of ideas already forming for the next one, and two, I just want to like make sure it's finished. Because I honestly, I want to write. My goal is to write one book a year, but which is still the goal. But I feel like I can get out more than one book. But one book a year specifically geared towards Grayson. Like that one book will always be for Grayson, but I will still write other books just for myself in general and my brand as a whole. So they may be smaller, maybe.
Wealthy delivery.
Yeah, so just wealthy delivery books in general, like probably small, little quick reads, but there will always be at least one book out of that year written specifically towards Grayson and creating an income for Grayson, because that's what they're written for, to create a passive income for him. So by the time he's an adult, it's like, you already got some cash that's coming in from my dad's book that he wrote for me.
You know, I mean, well, this would be a whole separate topic, so you do not have to comment. But the way that, because we've had conversations about education, the way that we view the education system, because when you said that about passive income, and I was about to be like, oh, because by the time you get to college is going to be. But then I was like, oh, I don't even know if he's going to go to college.
I mean,
and have student loan debt.
No, he definitely won't have that. I'm just be frank. I'm gonna be straight up. Like, I kind of attacked the education system in Nepotism for Dinner. I'm probably a little harsh on the education system in Nepotism for Dinner. I'm harsh on the education system. I'm harsh on America, and I'm just harsh on racism in this book. So this book will probably be a little bit uncomfortable for a lot of people to read, but I don't care, because that's what I want. If you want change, you gotta get uncomfortable. So I address a lot of different things, and like I said, my goal is never to change anybody's mind on anything. I just give you how I look at the world and open up your mind. Just be open up to it. But I really hope Grayson doesn't want to go to college. I hope. But the thing is, I know from how I'm raising him, he's already going to be trying to create and, run businesses and create an income long before it's that time. So if he does want to go to college, I hope he wants to go. He has a clear idea, like, all right, I need to go to college for this specifically because I want to learn this specifically, not just to go, Because I just think that model is gonna. I just don't believe it's gonna be around by the time he gets that age.
No, the world is definitely in a changing space.
Yeah.
Education would probably really be different. I mean, he's only 3.
Right. I mean, you're talking about like 15 years, maybe even sooner, because he's a little genius. So, but yeah, I just think that whole model, and I kind of addressed that in Nepotism for Dinner. So I just don't. And I think when I look around me, like all the entrepreneurs I follow and different people I've met just this past year in networking and different events is like, yo, the world ain't set up. Like, college is not where it's at. It's not it.
It's not necessary, but yes, I think it would. I mean, I knew you would feel that way, so I was kind of like holding back on making that comment, which is,
I mean, depending on where the world goes, but I feel like I'm not a very traditional person. Like, I'm not one to follow social norms. Like, I just think college and things like that was a push into like a social norm that I just think is BS. If anything from college, I hope he just goes to the experience to make friends. Like, cause that's
an expensive experience.
But if you already have an income coming in, but because you can still meet a lot of cool people and networking and things in that nature.
It is definitely true that when I went to college, the best thing that came out of college was the university that I went to was the experience that I got with the people that I met.
Right.
Yes.
Still friends with a lot of guys to this day. Like
those experiences that the life experience that I got in college, like I'm not gonna say were what's the word I'm looking for? Unvaluable, because I'm still paying for that fucking school. So they definitely put a price tag on my life experience. But I mean, I do appreciate like having my friends that I have from school and the things that I learned and things of that nature. But to go back to what we're talking about, I'm sorry. What am I doing? But either way,
like let her live. She's probably keeps having a good time, so I'm here for it.
Yeah, she is. I am not about to stop her. Let her live her life. Let her live her best life. She's happy up there. She's on winter break.
Oh, she lit.
Be alone.
She lit.
My brain can think.
It's going.
What I'm thinking about is, when your book is done, if you keep trying to tell the same story over and over again, but you're not coming up with any fresh ideas. And we kind of touched on this before, like when we did the first episode about Power Hour. Mm-hmm. You need a way to, produce new and fresh ideas. And if you're going back to the same story over and over and over again and saying the same thing the same way, it's probably done.
Yeah, like you literally, like there's different angles you can take to a story, but if you keep driving that same angle and driving that same point, like, yo, that's the story. Let it be.
Let it be. Let it rest.
I heard this before. Like you all right. Tell me this.
To go back to our first point about the revising, the editing and things like that, and not wanting to let your book go. A good indication of whether or not your book is done is if you have somebody in your field, so say like from me to you, would I give my book to you comfortably? Like, I respect you as an author. I'm gonna give my book to you for you to proofread it, right? Would I give it to you willingly? Like, oh yeah, read that. That's it. This the one.
Yeah, I'm nearly at that point. Like I that's what I've been doing. Like all last week, this beginning of this week, I literally have like 2 more chapters to do, and they'll be like, "Yo, all right, here, I can just give the proof read version to anybody." I'm like, "Yo, this is it. Here, take it." So that's I'm really excited to do that. Like even after this call, because like that's what I'm gonna do the next one, and then I have to pick up Grayson later. But then like after that, I'm like, I may come back home and just knock out the last one. Like, so I'm like super excited, so I can just get like, here, look, here it is, and that way I can just send it off and get it printed up. But like, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like when you able to be like, yo, that's like that actor or that producer or somebody that like writes a script or something and like hands it to the agency. Like, yo, this is the movie. This is the movie y'all need right here. Boom, read that.
You slam it on the table like,
yes.
Let's go.
Slam that big ass manuscript on the table. Is boom. That's it.
Yes. Do you have that feeling or do you have the like? You're like, all right, you can maybe not. Wait, let me just. Let me just change this little thing, right?
I definitely had that feeling more and more as like the days goes on. I'm like, yeah, oh yeah, this is all coming together. This is what you envision.
The last thing, which is a quote, and because I love poetry, also, I just kind of fell in love with this, and I don't know who said it, but it don't really matter. Art is never finished, only abandoned.
Yeah, because you could be working on art all day, and you could just be like, whether you painting, whether you drawing, like, oh, I have a little more detail here. It's like, yo, just
gotta,
cause
let it go. You gotta let that baby fly. Go ahead and shed that tear. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, I have nothing to even combat that, because that's true. I mean, you just gotta let it go. Like, it's done. You can always, and even when you put it out to the perceiver, like the person that's going to read it or the person that's going to view your art, one person would be like, oh, they could have put a little more detail here, or another person would be like, man, they put a little too much here, and then after that, one person would be like, yo, this is perfect.
Yep.
And that's who you want.
True. I mean, even the people that say like, oh, it could have been a little bit more here, but they read it though.
Yeah, you're still I say this about music. Like, you get those people that like hate on people like Drake, but you tune in to every time Drake did his part. All his part was to do was drop the music. You tuned in, whether you hate it or not. You still tuned in. You still listen to my music just so you can hate on it. So first of all, that's something wrong with you. But I did my part. My job is to drop the music and make people play it. The reason you play it is completely up to you.
Like, you have to enjoy some, like, especially like if you listen.
You have to.
And I guess this is complete different. Well, not really, because it ties into our other two conversations. I deleted Cardi B off of my Instagram because every time I get my Instagram, I'm like for whatever reason, like she's like the first, like the one of the first like three. They have their algorithms.
Yeah.
One of the first three, and I'm like, wow, like, is this what my brain wants? Is this the information that I need? It just was one of those moments of like when your brain when you have that come to Jesus moment. To say like, it was like, I cannot deal with having this unnecessary information in my brain. I need refreshing. Like, if I come on my Instagram, I want to see like something pretty or like something maybe like a little bit funny or something inspirational. I don't need to see this shit.
Yeah, I think you said something there too, because I said this. I would say this all the time, especially when I really like first start shifting my mindset, and like I really start being aware of what goes into my brain. Like, I started learning about the subconscious mind. So I was like, these algorithms will tell you what you like regardless of like I'll see these people be like, man, Facebook or social media is so negative, and I'm like, but there's a part of you that likes that because that's why they're showing it to you. So like, I say, if you want to know who you like really are, I don't know if some people don't use YouTube as much as I do. I use YouTube all the time, but I was like, if you go to your homepage on YouTube, what do they show you? Like, for me, it's either inspirational, motivational content, marketing stuff, and a lot of meditation stuff. Like, but that's the bulk of what I look for on, like, so it's like, so you even like being able to be like, yo, they showing this Cardi B stuff a little too much for me. Yeah. Like, some people can't even realize that. Somebody want to take, like, some people just keep staying in that world and not even realize they're being programmed to like just this.
It just was a moment of accountability for me, because it's like, if I And when you talked about like the subconscious mind, and even when we talk about writing and knowing when I'm done, and sometimes it is like I just want to fiddle through social media, but I don't want to go on my social media and have my mind go that way.
Yeah.
Now, no, I'm not even gonna buffer. Because I was gonna say a buffer statement, but no. It's like I just don't need my brain to go that way. And when you're constantly being filtered with just sex, like it's like that's how I feel. Like every time I'm like, it's just nudity and it's just like ants everywhere.
No, me and my brother had that conversation too, because this is, he was like, man, I just had to stop following some chicks, bro. Like it was too much, just ass and titties. Like it's like
that's it.
Yeah, it's like, don't get me wrong, I love ass and titties just as much as the next man, but it's like, I just can't be looking at that stuff all the time. Like every time I get on my social media and this and that. And I was like, yeah, that's real talk. Like,
yeah, and initially, like, I feel like, at least, like, specifically for her, like, initially when I started following her, it was because I felt like she was, like, inspirational. Yeah. And, like, every now and again, she will, and she does do something inspirational, but, like, 90% of it is not that. And I'm like, I can't take the like 10%. Like I gotta sift through for the 10%. Like it's just
no, real talk. Like you just don't know what you're gonna get. Like when she gives me that 10%, it's nice, but like that other 90, it's a little heavy.
Yeah, it's just
it's a little heavy. Like I love you, Cardi, but that's not what I need today. But I think that even goes to why when people look at entertainers, this is just a generalization of the world, like they look at these entertainers for so much, but really those entertainers are only there for one thing. Like in this book, and that like I plan to put like all the entrepreneurs that I follow or like influence the way I think, like their Twitter handles, or not Twitter, but like Instagrams. Because like these are people I think especially black people, I think every black person should know, but especially every black person, whether they're like trying to be in business, whether they're trying to like better themselves, whether they're trying to, whatever they're doing, just something positive, and they're really trying to win as in the black community. I feel like these people should know. And like I use this example all the time, like, and this is no knock on LeBron. Like LeBron's my dude, especially like from a entrepreneurial business standpoint. But people will look at a dude like LeBron almost as a savior of like, because I see it all the time. Like, well, what's LeBron doing this? And first of all, he's doing a lot. Like, what is he doing for the community? Or like, but like we look at these celebrities and entertainers as like saviors, and in that sense, where we're not even going to the place where they are actually trying to do some saving. Like, people looking for LeBron James to give some profound comment about the world after a 48-minute game of basketball. Like, I just got off the court. I've been like, basketball is but they don't go listen to his podcast where he's talking about financial literacy, like him and Mav Carter. Like, I listen to that stuff. Like, but like the people that like, so I feel like people go into the grocery store for hardware tools. It's like
to go back to how we got into this conversation. So I mean, and it makes sense, right? Like, because Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of that stuff is made for like blurbs of nonsense. It's not made for like, to your point, like about LeBron, like I'm not gonna, I guess I don't expect like profound Cardi B on Instagram. Like it's not, she's not made for that right there. Like that's a different platform.
Especially all the time. Like you said, she'll give you 10%.
Like 10%, right. But like 90% of the time, of course, this is Instagram. I'm doing what I'm like, this is for fun and ha-has and kikis and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, wait.
Yeah.
We gonna wrap this up.
You know how our brains get. You know, you got two people that's like two extra set of dots. You know what I'm saying?
It's the dots that nobody needed. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Well, that's all we have editing. That's what I was about to say to him. Maybe not. I don't know.
Hey, we keep it real. We keep it 100.
It's your girl, Diamond SKY. I couldn't get my snap together today. My hand is freezing.
I can't snap my left.
Let me do it again. Let me do it again.
Fun fact about me, I can't snap my left.
I can't snap with my right.
You can't snap with your right?
Because I'm right-handed.
That's very different.
It's your girl, Diamond SKY. And wait. Ding dong. Faulty delivery. Your boy, Devon Connors.
Woo-woo. I'm not gonna beatbox this time. I just make random noises.
Writer's block.
Writer's block. I love this.
Yeah. I gotta keep doing this. Like you said, 10 years plus.
10 years plus. Like, and just think of the evolved writers we'll be.
I know.
That's crazy.
I know.
I'll be like, yo, you working on your 11th book? What?
You're on book 2, and I'm on book 1. So like, let's just put that, like, let's timestamp this. Like, you're on book 2, and I'm on book 1. So imagine, like, a couple years from now, 10 years from now. Writer's block, people.
Writer's block.
Enjoy.
Yeah.